Welcome everyone to this episode of the Palmetto Guardian. I'm Sergeant Chelsea Weaver.
I'm PFC Anna Grace Catoe.
And we are back at you with another podcast. We've been doing pretty good staying consistent with these recently. So we have a guest with us today. Then we're going to have her introduce herself, and then we're going to kind of talk about her military history and why she joined the Guard. So, ma'am, if you would like to introduce yourself to everybody.
Hello, everyone. I'm Warrant Officer Shanequa Pendergrass. I am a 922 Alpha food service technician, and I've been in the Guard since November 2008, so going on 15 years right now.
Wow.
And,
it's crazy to think, like, when you say 2008, it doesn't seem that long ago, but then when you do the math, it's like, oh my gosh, that was like forever ago.
A few more years, and I'll hit my 20-year letter. So
that's awesome. So I kind of want to just start with why you joined the Guard, and if you have any kind of family history that kind of helped or made you want to pursue that, or like what was the reasoning for you joining the Guard?
So of course I joined in high school my senior year. Sergeant First Class Horace Miller, my recruiter, he came to our school, Eau Claire High School, and he talked to a bunch of us. We had already taken the ASVAB, and he was just out there trying to get recruits, and he said $20,000, and at 17 years old, $20,000 was a lot of money, and I had to get my dad to sign for me because I was only 17, and I remember when we were picking MOSs, he was like, the only one I'm assigned for is if you're going to be a cook, because everybody got to eat. And so, yeah.
So was it more of the bonus aspect of it, or did you always want to serve in some kind of way?
So I actually didn't. Like, I had no idea that, 2008 or 15 years ago, I would be sitting here where I am today. I have no military family. I'm literally the first one to join the military in my family. I'm glad I made the decision, but at the time, it was
an impulse.
Yes, it was like, let's try it.
Yeah,
I definitely relate to that.
Yeah, and nobody knew what was going to happen. So when I went to basic, I didn't know what I was getting myself into, but just winged it.
So how was that being the first in your family to join? Because, like, I'm kind of in the same situation. Like, both of my grandparents, my grandfathers served, but they served, like, one term. One was Air Force, one was Army. So, like, no one in my family grew up in the military culture. So I was, like, the first one who enlisted. I'm the only girl of 3 brothers. So, like, it was a shock. Like, they're very supportive and stuff, but, like, how was it whenever you did make that decision, and now being almost 15 years in, like, how has that been with your family and the support?
It's a journey, because, like, not a lot of people understand the National Guard and how we do things. All they know is we drill once a month and 2 weeks out the summer. That's literally all they think I do. So, but it's a lot of explaining, like, just explain to my children, because they don't have, so just explain to them, I'm going to drill, I'm not going to work. And then, like, my husband, he's like, some of the things we do is, like, crazy. Like, it's a lot.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, being in the Guard allows you a little bit more freedom than active duty, but it's, I mean, we still are required to do all the same things. And I feel like sometimes we have more training because we're constantly having to go to schools for promotion, or, like, people reclassing, or like, just all these different things. I feel like there's it's so much more than just 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks out of the summer.
And it truly is. And like, after finishing my Warrant Officer basic course, I really see, like, the active duty they don't really respect as much as we go through, like, and we got military side, and we actually have to live in the civilian world and survive, which is they're one way all the time. They're military Monday through Friday, 24 hours a day. So
talking about how busy life can be in the Guard, what are some things that you do to kind of balance out that work and self-care aspect of life?
It was a little bit easier before, like, officer school, going Warrant. I felt like I had a little bit of control of my life. But literally, it's been like juggling the kids, the husband, and school. It takes a lot of patience. You got to manage your time well because you want to have a social life. You got to be a mom. Then you got to be a professional. You got to be a soldier. So it really just takes a lot of patience and organization, management, just managing yourself, setting a schedule. I used to use my phone notes, but now I actually bought a planner and like literally, you got to write it down.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a list person for sure.
Yes.
So when you enlisted, how was that being a cook enlisted? And then what made you want to go warrant officer?
So let me tell you, when Mr. Evans came to me and said there was a warrant officer slot, I was literally 5 months pregnant.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, this man is crazy. Like, I'm not leaving my kids to go to officer school. So, but I really was thinking about getting out. I was burnt out a little bit. At that time, I've been in about 9-10 years when you're talking to me. And I worked so hard. I went from an MP unit, then I was at a trans unit. And then we didn't have a lot of good leadership in the food service world that I got a chance to reach out to. Like, I think I seen Chief Hayes probably maybe 1 to 2 times in my career before. So I didn't see warrants. Mm-hmm. And I felt like I wanted to make a difference and be able to go out and visit the sites and listen to their problems, listen to their needs, and try to help in any way that I can. And as a sergeant, because I commissioned when I was the E5, I was like, I can do this. I got my master's degree in human resources management. I felt I want to give back. I want to set an example. I didn't want everybody to think, oh, I'm a cook, I'm burnt out, let's ETS. There's different avenues you can take. And with me having 10 years of 92 golf experience, I feel like I was in a good position to go warrant.
Absolutely. That's awesome. We've preached so many times on this podcast, like the Guard has so much to offer, and don't let one little thing deter you from making a decision that you might regret later, because I was an MP, like me and Catoe were in the same unit, and I didn't know anything about public affairs, and that's something that I wanted to do, like photography and all that kind of stuff. And then when I found out it was a job in the Guard, I was like, sign me up. So it's awesome to hear other people's stories and like where they came from, because a lot of times when people enlist, like when I enlisted, I didn't sit down and look at all the MOSs that were available. I literally left my recruiter's office and he's like, go figure out like 5 top MOSs. And I pulled out of the parking lot and he called and he's like, do you want to be an MP? And I'm like, okay, that sounds fun. Like I knew some friends from high school that went through and they were MPs, and I was like, sure. I didn't put any thought into it or like what I would be doing and how I would progress in the Guard with that. But it definitely gave me a lot of great experiences, met a lot of great people that I still like talk to today. But it's nice to hear those stories from other people, and especially with cooks, because everybody, at least when I came in, it was like people didn't see it as an important MOS. And like with Joint Force headquarters, as far as I know, they don't have cooks because they cater food. But like when I was with the MPs and Catoe, I don't know if you can contest to this, but like the cooks cooked. And so like the field or the units out in the field and stuff, they have cooks that cook, but like it's hard for them to navigate because it's not like you're in a unit of cooks. It's like you're 2 or 3 people in a unit filled with infantry or MPs or engineers, and it's hard to mix that balance together because they don't see your job as something as serious as it really is. I mean, you guys are waking up before everybody to make sure they have breakfast and stuff. You're staying up late to cook dinner and everything.
Absolutely.
So I mean, it's good to like see the background and hear the stories of actual people who have gone through that.
I mean, I can't attest for other line units, but shout out to Sergeant Dean at the 132nd is all I got to say, because
Yes.
she definitely takes care of us all the time.
That's exactly where I started. I started at 132, and that's where they taught me everything I know, and then I went to King Street. So, but yes, 132, the MPs, we cook, and it was like a serious thing. Everybody ate. It was like nobody was able to go off, leave the army to go get lunch. Everybody ate, and that's one of the units where I felt more valued. Being in King Street was a little hard because we traveled a lot. So sometimes we catered, And sometimes we cook, and then we would cook at different armories and just hopping around. But a lot of time on the road, we would have food catered and stuff.
Yeah. So where do you foresee your future now that you become a warrant officer? And I mean, you're full time. Do you do the same job full time?
I don't.
Okay. So what do you do full time?
So full time, I'm human resources.
Okay.
I work in HRO.
So where do you foresee yourself going now that you're still a warrant officer 1? So obviously getting promoted and stuff, but like, where do you see your career going down this path?
So I definitely, like a year from now, I want to be able to meet all my units, all my cooks, and I'm still trying to figure out what we're going to do with the field feeding company. This is going to be interesting. So
that's definitely been the talk of the guard for
so
a hot minute.
I don't know where we're going to be 5 years from now, but I know that's what I plan on doing, reaching out and being able to be that liaison between the unit cooks and the state food service manager.
Okay. So do the cooks do any kind of like training together, or like what's that aspect? Like you go to AT and you learn all the stuff, but like as MPs or public affairs or infantry, like throughout the year you do some kind of training. Do cooks have to do anything like that, or do you guys collaborate together and like know each other even though you're in other units?
So yes and no. I didn't know a lot of cooks. I only knew the cooks that in my battalion or in my brigade when we would get together and do ATs and training like muter weekends. But we do have times where Chief Hazer hosts a MKT class or have AFMIS classes, and we'll get together to have that type of training. And I think after seeing one of my units this past month, I'm like, yeah, we need a food safety class because they were literally about to pour a 15-gallon pot of hot grits in a trash can. And I was like, yeah, I don't advise of that right now. So, yeah, it's a lot of training that we need.
I mean, I definitely think that that's slept on a lot, that cooks kind of just get thrown out there too, and it's straight up on the job training. They don't get the same kind of training that other MOSs might get.
And then it's hard to say we're cooking for 300 people, and then like my unit I just went to, they were saying it was about 300-400 people, so they cooked. That's why we had a whole pot of 15-gallon pot full of grits, because not everybody came. And that, not saying it hurts my feelings, but it hurts my feelings. Because I really woke up 2, 3 in the morning to make sure you had a hot meal prepared, and then nobody comes. Just like a few people come, and we have a bunch of food left over.
So what advice would you give somebody who's looking to join, or maybe they're in a position where they are thinking about getting out, but maybe they don't know of other avenues for them to pursue? Like, what advice would you give them if they were on the fence of staying in or reenlisting?
I would say persevere, because when my first enlistment, I was going to get out, and then I got promoted to a sergeant, and then I stayed in, had a couple of babies, and I was ready to get out on my second baby, and then like literally I was telling somebody one day, I'm getting out. Yeah, I just can't do this. I got 2 kids. And then a year and a half later, I was on my favorite, like turning in my favorite packet. So I would just say persevere. And I had to do a lot to go warrant. It just wasn't easy. I had to do waivers for ALC. I had to retake the ASVAB to get my GT score up. Like, it wasn't just, here you go, you can be a warrant now. So it's hard work, but I'll just say believe in yourself. Anything that you put your mind to, you can do it, because I would never think I would make a warrant. I was just like, I literally cried when I passed my last exam. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a warrant now. So yeah.
Did you get your master's before you went to, I guess the warrant officer?
I did. I got my master's in March 2018.
Okay. How many GT points did you have to get?
So we need a 110 to be officer, and I think I had like a 90 something. But the last time I took it when I was in high school, so I was just like, oh my gosh. But there is a course on Fort Jackson, a 2-week course you can take. I was like, okay, I took this when I was 17 in high school. I have a master's degree now. I better be able to get this 110 GT score. So I just took it on the whim. I got some notes from some friends, and they helped me out. I Googled how to do long division because not every day I'm dividing.
My gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
No calculators. All that fun
no
stuff.
calculators.
I loved math in high school, but like taking a test and stuff, I just writing it out and having to show your work. It's like, I know the answer. Like, why do I need to show you how I got there? But yeah, I had to retake the ASVAB too to be public affairs because I was a couple points off. So like, we say this all the time. Don't let those small roadblocks stop you, because just because you don't have a high enough GT score or ASVAB score, or just because you're maybe not passing height and weight or passing your PT test, like if you want something, you can make it happen. Yep. And if you have the right mentors and the people who actually care, and like you said, Chief Evans just came up to you and was like, hey, you should be a warrant officer. Like that could be all it takes. And if it's worth putting in the work, like you said, doing the waivers and the process to get into the school and then to complete it, I mean, that's a huge accomplishment too, because the warrant officer candidate school is so small. Like it's not like OCS where they have, I mean,
hundreds.
Yeah, coming through. Like warrant officer, I covered them. I went and shot some video not too long ago, and there was like 6 people in the class. Like it's not huge. So, but yeah, it's definitely, you just never know like where you're going to find that next opportunity. So, I know sometimes it's hard when you're trying to plan for certain things and like figuring out, should I stay or should I go? Like, am I going to get promoted? Should I go to a school? But like, I don't know. Sometimes you just have to have that aha moment, or like go through something and then be like, okay, this is a good decision. I need to pursue this. And
I was just talking to one of my cooks in one of the units I'm over, and he's like, oh, I need to lose the weight. I can't pass tape, the PT test, the ACFT. And I'm like, you can do it. Like, I struggle with height and weight too. Like, I had to really, really get in shape. Like, you say you can't do it, but have you been drinking water? Have you attempted to work out? You can do this. All you got to do is put your mind to it. Get up and go. Getting up, getting there, that's half the battle. So
absolutely. So, with the warrant officer path now, what does that look like for you with career progression? Because like certain MOSs, it's not like you have all these slots to get promoted in. Like, how does that work for your field?
So, the slot I'm in, our system, we're like the best kept secret. So we don't have to
we say that about public affairs all the time, but then someone comes in and they're like, no, we're the best kept secret.
No. We're really the best kept secret. So, but yeah, so I'll be you're typically a 1 for 2 years. So I'm able to put my packet in to get my CW2 in a few months, because my 2 years coming up in September, and then it'll be another 4 years, and then you'll be eligible to get your CW3, and then. So
it's not a slot thing. Oh, okay, so it's just like an automatic not automatic, but like after a certain period of time, you submit a packet and then you get promoted. It's not like for us where we have to find a slot to go in to get promoted type thing.
No, and it's when I went to my basic course, it was the active duty. I was like, oh my gosh, they got it, because they really got to find where they're going and stuff. So no,
I never knew that.
Yeah, I didn't either. Like,
as long as you I don't see nothing I'm not really sure what can really delay your packet, but as long as you're not flagged and everything's good, you're up to date with your schooling, because we have the basic course, the advanced course, the senior course, and they're even, when I was in school, they were just talking about doing an intermediate course, so you want to add another course.
I know.
So one for every grade, essentially. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's it. That's the hard thing too, like with getting promoted, because like I know there has to be requirements and stuff, but when they put all these courses that you have to go through, like, I don't know, sometimes it's just like, it's hard to get through all of that, because you finish, like for me, I finished BLC, get promoted, and it's like, okay, now you got to go to ALC, and I'm like, wait a minute, like, can I catch a break? Like, so, I mean, it does make it a little difficult for the guard, because you are so used to, if you're not full time, you're used to that 1 week in a month, 2 weeks. And then you have to add on another 2 to 3 weeks, depending on how long that course is, to get to the next promotion and to keep going. And then it's like, once you get the one done, then it's like within a matter of like, it seems such a short amount of time before you're going to the next course. So, I mean, that definitely is.
Yeah, that's why I recommend writing your own career plan and knowing what things you need to do throughout your military career and your civilian career as well. Your family, what kind of goals you have, year 1, 3 years, a 5-year, 10-year goal, where you want to be at.
Did you have any like really good mentors to help you out along the way?
Oh my gosh, like I had so many, like the whole WIN community, like my first commander, that I'm not going to say my first, I did have others, but she's the first one that mattered. Major Ashley Young, she mentored me so much. I mean, it was times she could have like counseled me, gave me paperwork, but she sat there and talked to me, and I was just like, oh, well, that makes sense, man. Like, she helped that a lot. And then when I started working here, I originally started in HRO, and Sergeant Major Helen Davis, I'm her goddaughter. So, yeah, and just with my running group, like, because I didn't think I was going to be able to be fit enough to even try to go warrant officer or traditional officer. So, like, Major White and Sergeant Price, whenever everyone's all the miles. Like, I don't see how he would run 15 miles and then he'll come run 2 with me, and I'm like dying. I'm like,
oh my gosh. I feel like I've seen you like, it's been a while, but I feel like was he the one that would wear the PT vest?
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, gosh, I can't do that. That's too much.
Yeah.
I was just curious because whenever we had Lisa on here the other day, she was talking about how it was important to surround yourself with basically like who you want to become. And that was just like a mental thing for me. And I'm just curious about.
No, I absolutely, because I used to try to get some of my friends like, no, you run with all them officers. Like, no. So, like, being around people like Chief Hayes and Major Young, Major White, like all these good people, they were good to me. And I see being around them, like, yeah, that's the military. That's the person I want to be to somebody else in the future. So,
yeah, no, that. They always say surround yourself with at least 5 people that are either they've reached goals that you want to reach to where they can mentor you, or they are just that well-rounded person that you can look up to, because it pushes you more to want to achieve those goals versus just showing up to drills, sitting around and just checking off the boxes. Like, so yeah. I think that's awesome. Is there anything else that you want to share or add before we close out, or any advice for anybody listening?
I would just like to say, don't give up on yourself. Like, you can do anything you put your mind to.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate you coming out and talking with us. Hopefully we'll have you come back at some point and talk about something else. But
absolutely.
All right. Well, if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and we will catch you guys in the next episode.